Hello, and welcome to MH510 Alpha Week 6 for the fall of 2024. This week we're going to be talking about Marxist history. We're all neo-Marxists or Maoists or Castroites or some such now. Once again, there will be two discussion questions. The first of which is Marxist history finds its organizing principle in the work of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels on the rise and state of the capitalist system in Western Europe, specifically in Germany and England in the mid-19th century. Some historians would argue that all history since has been in one way or another Marxist history. Based on your reading thus far in Arnold, Gaddis, Novick, Tosh, Truman, and Williams, what are three of the chief characteristics of Marxist history, and what do you think the strengths of this approach are, and what weaknesses exist within the Marxist history approach? The second question is identify an American, scratch that, identify a Marxist historian, provide a brief one-paragraph biography, and describe why you consider them a Marxist historian. All right, as we look at the first discussion question, think about why Marxism seems to be so compelling to supposedly well-educated, intelligent people. Communism Marxist is stupid is not an answer to that. Do not conflate all Marxist historians with Stalin or Pol Pot or Mao. They aren't. Understand that in Britain it was cool to be a commie, but in America no one wanted the commie kid on their team. So here they went by many other names, often describing themselves as progressive or new left. Herbert Aptheker, H. Bruce Franklin, and Arno J. Meyer are among the most prominent of them. Do think about the precognitive assumptions you must make to become a Marxist. First, there is nothing beyond the material. No God, no higher power. We are not spiritual in any sense. Thus, the material is all there is, and all history has material, i.e., economic drivers. We are motivated solely by our material interests. If you aren't, you have been manipulated or have a false consciousness. Class is not cultural or intellectual in origin or manifestation. Material economics alone determines social class. This is what leads to class analysis. All history is class conflict. And human nature is perfectible. Okay, another thing to think about. Can a non-Marxist use Marxist methods to analyze specific historical issues? What are the characteristics of Marxist history, and what are the strengths and weaknesses? For DQ2, identify a Marxist historian. I've opened this up because there are many prominent Marxist historians in Britain, among other places. I would limit myself to English-speaking Marxists. Identify a Marxist historian and provide evidence as to why you consider them a Marxist historian. Using your characteristics, strengths, and weaknesses from discussion question 1, analyze the career and works of a Marxist historian. You can use outside sources here for your work, though Novick and Truman look at the Marxist historians in some depth. Some potential historians to look at are, but by no means limited to, Herbert Aptheker, Philip S. Fauner, Christopher Hill, and Gabriel Kolko. Gabriel Kolko is a very interesting figure. If you read the American obituaries on his death, he is described as a New Left historian. But if you read the British obituaries, he is clearly described as a Marxist historian. It's something to think about. Reminder, your final paper research update and annotated bibliography is due in just a couple weeks. No more than 5 scholarly secondary monographs, no less than 10 scholarly journal articles, not book reviews, though they can be useful for you. Your historiographic essay, remember that. It's a historiographic essay, not argumentative. What do I mean by that? You are arguing the historiography, not the topic. So, for instance, you don't want to argue whether Lee lost or Meade won the Battle of Gettysburg. Rather, you want to argue that some historians believe that Lee lost the battle. Other historians believe that Meade won the battle. And then analyze those arguments, not the battle itself. Your historiographic essay is due at the end of week 10. If you're not working on it now, you are behind the curve. Your annotated bibliography and research update is due to me next week. Well, actually, it's going to be more than next week if you watch this week. But it is due at the end of week 7, Sunday, October 13th. See the next slide for some details on that. And I lay out what I'm looking for there. And in great detail that I'm not going to read through, but go ahead and look at it, okay? So with that said, y'all take care, stay safe, and I'll see you around the campus. Bye-bye.